Hi everybody, this is Tandy Gutierrez, and this is another Tip Tuesday mini vid, and your tip of the day. I brought these back last week, not very long ago. Felt like it was just time to start a video for you guys again every week. Plus, it's so beautiful in San Juan that I want to shoot as many videos as I possibly can here, and when it's sunny. It's the rainy season, so you have to time it just right for me to come outside. Okay, so last Tip Tuesday, I did a little chat on meditation because, again, as things come up more often and I hear you all and you guys send me messages, there was a lot of questions and about, I wish I could do it, and it just, my brain is too busy and noisy. So you can go back to that video and check that one out because that was a whole thing. Clearly I had something to say about that. And this one is more of like, how do I start a meditation practice? Because my whole thing is that you have to get rid of the expectations and the shoulds, and I think that media and PR in general do a terrible job of conveying why you should really be doing these things. Like, we all read sound bites, but to us in a busy life, it often just feels like, oh, one more thing to add to my to-do list. And then when I tried it, my brain was so busy and noisy that I'm never doing it again because clearly I did it wrong. So the last video was really about, like, no, you don't have to be utterly silent. We don't need to go over that again. You can go watch that other video. But today is, how do I start a meditation practice? And we're going to get down to like 7, ways to do it. But with a little bit of why should I do it? Yes, we know that there's great stress relieving properties to it. Yes, we know that it increases, what's actually functioning and firing in your brain. But what's the real deal? Why? So you may not be able to be silent in your sitting and your meditation and your doing. But it creates more space, okay? So more space, more white space. Creativity comes from that space. An internal compass comes from that space. Love, that's where love lives. So when you're taking the time to cultivate a meditation practice, you're giving highlight to the white space and growing that empty space in your life. And then you're allowing for the cultivation and the growth, of love, of self-love, of that internal compass to be more present, more anchored, and really stronger. It's like exercising any other muscle. So, you know me, I teach on the mat and I teach in the kitchen, but this internal sense of grounding and strength, that's really a basis for everything. So when you're not meditating and you don't have a meditation practice consistently, the major thing is that there's too much noise. There's not enough space, and it's noisy. And where does noise come from? It comes from, pixels and videos and TV and phones and busyness. And you cannot cultivate space or white space or creativity and love and empathy or an internal compass when you don't have that practice. It just doesn't happen in the busy. So it needs that moment of pause, and it needs less time than you think to be useful. But it really does affect everything when we don't have any sense of grounding and we don't have a sense of space. So I think that what I can boil it down to is that internal compass, okay? So your internal compass is that feeling of security, that feeling of anchoring in the world, and that feeling of knowing how you feel. So this is a big one. When you get really busy, and I used to be this person, which is why I can say this, sometimes you don't even know how you feel, right? Like, you don't. Somebody asks you, like, what's wrong? What do you need? And you go, I don't even know. I'm tired, I'm anxious, I'm stressed, okay? If you don't know how you feel, it's very difficult to make any kind of decisions. What's good? What's bad? What do I need? What do I don't need? What does my kid need? What does my job need? I don't even know. You're letting everybody dictate to you what needs to be done, but if you don't know how you feel, you don't know how to proceed in the world with good decision making. There's no internal compass to it, okay? So a little bit of time grows it and generates it and makes it bloom, and it's such a beautiful thing. So it's not about being a yogi on the mountain, everything's zen, and you can do anything to me and everything's fine. No, it's not about complete silence. It's about having a sense of internal security, internal love, being connected to something bigger than yourself, having faith that you know what you really believe in, and making choices based on that. So we make choices all day long, but the reality is most of us don't know how we feel. Then we're making decisions. We have no idea if that's really the decision we wanted, even down to the coffee we're ordering. And we're really not giving consideration to the long-term projection of those decisions. So if you're making decisions and you don't know how you feel, then how do you know that the long term of that decision was a good one for you? If you know how you feel and you've got more open, quiet space and you make these decisions and you go, yes, I'm totally okay with the outcome because I knew how I felt when I made the decision. So I feel like it's such a wonderful thing because it cultivates this sense of internal grounding and self and empowerment and security, and it really does blossom love. And then when you have that, you can be more patient and kinder and express more empathy to other people, and you can be a real conduit of creativity and goodness and solutions in the world. So if there's no quiet space, you can't really be your best self in the world. It's too noisy, okay? So how do you do it? Lots of ways, right? So the first one that I love to impart to people that I will teach over and over and over again is passive, right? When I started, I've dabbled off and on for years, for 18 years. And so there's all kinds of ways when your life is busy, when you're not feeling totally connected, when you want to do, but you're like, I don't want to do one more thing. Binaural beats. You can download them on any platform. YouTube's got a ton of them. They're spectacularly interesting. They're frequencies, and so you listen to them in headphones. One frequency goes in one side, another in the other side, and your brain actually fills in that third part. So it's basically a passive meditation that you're activating those centers of the brain without really having to sit and do anything and be quiet. Don't listen to them while you're driving or, operating mechanical things. But they're a wonderful before bedtime thing. Okay, so I think that one's super spectacular because it's passive. Like, you're not really having to do anything. Don't worry about quieting your brain. You're being stimulated by frequencies that are very calming, very healing, and activate those brain centers. Okay, the second one, the Pilates teacher in me comes out. Okay, so breath. You read all these things of like, breathing, slow breathing, count your breath. Yes, you can do all of those, okay? But the Pilates breath is particularly interesting because it uses your lungs as a three-dimensional object, which they are. They're a balloon. But most of us breathe in the shallow space up here, which is panicked and fear, okay? Or if you're yogi and you're into that, a lot of that's happening in your belly, which is wonderful for relaxation, but it's not improving the organ. So I'm a multitasker. The three-dimensional breath actually improves your lung capacity. It can increase your VO2 max. It's using the lungs the way they're meant to be used, like a balloon in every direction. Okay? It also helps massage and stretch your upper back, which decreases back pain. And it also addresses like where your diaphragm is, which is a muscle, and most people's diaphragms are dysfunctional, literally, anyhow. So it's a wonderful health tool as well that's pretty passive. Okay? So Pilates breathing. Sit up straight. Inhale to lift that belly button up underneath your rib cage. Exhale, try to hold it there. Okay? Inhale into the back of the ribs. Feel your back stretch. And then exhale out the back of the ribs. Okay? Inhaling into the back of the rib cage. So ladies, it's right at your bra line. Exhale out that bra line. Okay? Inhale into the back of the chest. Exhale at the back of the chest. And that's it. You get tall, you start to work your lungs like a balloon, you start to be able to increase that. If you want to add counting to it, you could, and if you don't want to, don't worry about it. I'm not the Fitbit girl. I'm not big on itty-bitty minutia counting. I think that creates neuroses. I think then you miss the point of connecting with your body. But a little bit of counting goes a long way, and you don't have to do it for 20 minutes at a time. If you did 4 of those inhales and exhales, in a moment that was just like, okay, that's the time I've got for myself, then that is your meditation practice for the day, okay? So I'm all about better is better. Don't aim for perfection. It doesn't exist. Don't aim to be the yogi on the mount because you're not, and you're certainly not at your beginning stages. Just aim for better. If you're going from doing nothing, try 4 inhales and exhales, okay? So then there's the classic, that you sit in silence. And it really only takes 2 to 10 minutes to see those benefits. And you can mark that out like, hey, for this many days, I'm going to do 2 minutes. And then I'm going to add on in the next week another minute. There is some divine and spiritual significance to either 7 or 11 minutes if you're interested in that. So these are all choices. Again, bite-sized. It doesn't take a lot to make an impact. It's about the small, simple steps in the long run that cultivate an awareness and a relationship with yourself and a sense of calm and that space. Okay, so just sit in silence. You can sit anywhere. Can you lay down? Sure. Don't fall asleep unless you know you don't have to be someplace, right? So you can set a timer. This, arguable, but I use my phone. I set the timer, and sometimes I listen to binaural beats or music, and sometimes I don't, but my timer's right there, and I just sit, right? And do I always have the best meditation? No, but I do, and I log my time, and I keep it consistent, and this is where the beauty is, okay? So the next piece is, you can listen to meditative music, right? If that's soothing and calming to you, it's a beautiful time to do it before bed, because if you've got that sleepiness and that quiet time, it can still be a little bit passive, and I think that's really wonderful, and then heads you into that dream state, okay? So you can do guided meditations. Again, there's no rules. What speaks to you? What speaks to you that day? I do all of these at different times, okay? I think guided meditations are really wonderful, and I think that they can be lovely in the morning because, again, you're being led and guided instead of feeling like I gotta do one more thing. Meditating in the morning is especially beautiful because that sets the tone for the day, hopefully, right? So you can use any of those things. Another one of my favorites, because I will say that my brain isn't always quiet, right? It's just not always quiet. Sometimes it's busy, and sometimes I go, okay, if you need to be busy right now because our intellect is what separates us from the animals, let me give you something positive to be busy with. Let me program you into the right busy space, okay? So mantras or affirmations are stunning, and maybe you've got something this week that you want to work on. Maybe you've got something this month. Maybe it's the whole year, okay? Or maybe you wake up and you just go, hey, I don't feel good today. And you can sit there and go, I feel wonderful, I feel happy, I feel joyful, I find joy in my day. And these positive affirmations, if you're in the same age group I am, you remember the SNL skits, but they really do work. Your brain is busy. It's meant to be busy. We want it to be busy because that's how you're going to solve and create beautiful things in the world. But what's it busy with? Is it busy with fear and frustration and terrible self-talk and degrading things? Or is it busy with, how can I be of use to the world? What's positive about today? If you don't feel great about yourself, just start telling yourself good things. I swear to goodness, it sounds ridiculous, but it works. What you program your mind with, this is your computer. What are you programming it with? So affirmations are a great way to just keep repeating and program better stuff for you that then starts to naturally come about, okay? So again, this is about the better is better. It doesn't have to be perfect. There is no such thing. There are no rules, and you shouldn't have to do it one way or the other, okay? And again, 2 minutes minimum, okay? 2 to 10 minutes can do incredible things for you consistently. And then if you want to build up to things, great, wonderful. But do something that's approachable, that you feel good about, and that is accessible to you. Don't add it into your life if it's only going to stress you out and make you feel busier. But the one thing I will tell you, maybe two things, is that when you meditate, it actually helps you rest better, and you start to need less sleep. So if you feel like, well, I need to get to bed and I need to sleep, I used to do this because I'm big on sleep. I've got autoimmune issues and I have to tend to that, and I need like 9 hours of sleep to feel really rested. Meditation actually helps you rest and restore and regenerate better. So it's actually not time out, it's kind of time logged for you, okay? So, and then the last way, whatever your calling in the world is, whatever you connect with and connect to God or spirit or something bigger than yourself, it's really important to connect with something bigger than yourself. So if prayer is your thing, go for it. Okay. The one thing I would say and encourage is that, you talk, you ask for help, you ask for guidance, you ask for messages, you ask for comfort, and then you surrender a bit and go, I will do everything I can to positively help X, Y, and Z, or this issue, or me, or the world, and you let the rest come, right? You can't solve everything, you can't do everything. So sitting in silence, binaural beats, listening to meditations and guided meditations, just breathing, constructively with awareness, or just good old-fashioned prayer, right? Put those hands together, start thinking and talking and playing things out. And again, this idea that meditation needs to be silent, I don't think so. It needs to be quiet. It creates space so that you can hear things, right? So I wrote this down because I didn't want to butcher it. There's a quote that's just so beautiful. It says, "Be still. Stillness reveals the secrets of eternity." Right? So it's Lao Tzu. And there's a quote. There's beautiful ones in the Bible, be still and you shall know God. And it's everywhere. So stillness is important. And I think we've become a culture of busyness. And, stillness is like, oh, don't be still because then you're lazy. No. I really think this lack of stillness and this lack of quiet and this lack of space and this lack of creative space and this place where love grows, then we've got a lack of self-compass. So if you want to strengthen all those things and have all that sense of calm, these are some really easy ways to do it. So don't not try something because you think it should be done in a certain way or that you have to be silent while you do it. We have thinking, creative brains. They should be busy. That's how we create things in the world. But those visions, those ideas, they're ideas. It's not like somebody's talking to you. Some of you may have that, that'd be awesome too, a little easier. But it's really about coming up with ideas that you want to follow through with that are invigorating and loving and fun and giving, right? So the more of us who can give and teach and create and cultivate beautiful things in the world, the better. So there you go. These are the ways that you can start meditating right now. Minimum of 2 minutes. 2 to 10 minutes is really beautiful. And maybe you can get to where you're doing 15 to 20 a day. Wouldn't that be wonderful, right? If you have any questions or comments or, experiences with it that you want to share, please do so. Like and share this with people that you think might really need it or just might be really interested in it. You can never fill the world with too much good stuff, right? There's tons of negative out there. So let's start sharing all the good, positive things in the world. See you next time.